friends, and welcome back to my allotment in the northeast of England. I thought today we could do a bit of a chatty video as I'm working at my allotment. I haven't been here for 3 days and it looks pretty wild. But luckily we don't need to do much watering because it's been kind of drizzly the last few days. Today is like the first sunny hot day. But we need to get on top of the weeding, of course. And another thing that happened when I was leaving 3 days ago, I've noticed that I started getting some powdery mildew. So I actually brought I brought some milk with me today, and I'm gonna try and tackle the powdery mildew before it spreads around. It started up on my calendula plants. Actually, let me show you quickly. Yeah, so that's kind of the situation here. And so far, the only place I have noticed the powdery mildew on is the calendulas. So I think, unfortunately, these calendulas might need to go, at least this tress here. That tress looks still okay, so I'll try and tackle it. And then I've got another tress further up there. But otherwise, like I said, I don't really have much of a plan what to do today. Here are my potatoes, my first early potatoes. I've harvested half of them last week and they already made it into potato scones, which I've made so many I had to freeze some. But I think today might be the day to harvest the last of my first early potatoes. I also have a second early potatoes, which also need harvesting at some point. Broad beans, they're kind of looking like they might be ready to harvest completely now. I did harvest the first half. I had loads that I've eaten. I've frozen some, and I think, yeah, we'll see about that because I'm not ready to deal with the broad beans yet because you have to shell them, you have to cook them, you have to shell them again, and then you have to somehow use them up in the kitchen. So I'm not sure about those right now. Maybe I'll leave them today. But yeah, we'll see what we get up to. The priority is the powdery mildew and then harvesting potatoes. Getting on top of my weeding. I just noticed as well the raspberries over there are kind of ready to pick from again. So we'll do that. And obviously we're gonna water the polytunnel. Since I have a lot of milk with me, I might as well prevent the mildew from happening in the polytunnel too. So I'm gonna try and spray everything in the polytunnel as well. The downside of it all is I only have like a tiny spray bottle. I don't have a big one. I used to have a big one, but somehow it stopped working. I don't know if it's clogged up or something. So this is the only thing I'm gonna have to use. So we're probably gonna have to go and refill many more times. Ooh, look at these sunflowers. This was the first one that was in bloom last week. This one. And then all of these are new. Oh my god, and the ones on top behind me are also starting to bloom. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, today is like the first sunny day we had in a week. So, it's looking lovely. While I'm here, let me also show you what I just planted on my visit 3 days ago. So, not the pumpkin that just started to spread on its own now, but I have kind of created this temporary cover. I need to fix this with some better cover at some point. So I've put down my broccoli. This is my purple sprouting broccoli that's going to hopefully give me some broccoli in January and February. Let's have a look inside. So it's been planted 3 days ago and it looks like it's actually managed to grow already. This is absolutely crazy. So I was meant to interplant it with some chicory, which I've got already in modules, but I didn't get around to it last time, so we might do it today. Let's go and check the polytunnel and see what we need to do. Oh, it's hot. It is very, very hot here.
Sounds of birds in harmony. You there right next to me. No matter where we go.
At first I'm going to tackle my polytunnel because it needs watering. Obviously this place doesn't get any rain when it rains outside, so I need to water it. My tomato plants over there in little pots are not looking so good right now, so they definitely need some water. everything needs watering. And I wanted to feed the tomato plants with some liquid tomato feed, which I'm doing about once a week now, but I can't find it. I left it outside, I remember, but it's not in the spot where I thought I left it, so I really hope I have misplaced it and that no one took it. Because that would be silly, wouldn't it? Why would anyone go stealing liquid tomato feed from me? No, it's probably just misplaced somewhere at the allotment.
Through all the storms, I'm by your side. Through days of warmth, I'm by your side. Like the stars and the moon in the nighttime sky, I'm by your side.
So this cucumber is variety called Socrates, and I am so happy with this cucumber. This cucumber has been giving me harvest since like May. Honestly, that was my first cucumber. And it's supposed to be like a kind of snack-sized cucumber. Maybe I've let this one grow a little bit too big. But honestly, it's been feeding me. I've already harvested like 5 of these cucumbers this size from this plant, and it's already got loads more kind of growing. Whereas behind it I have another variety called Telegraph, which is supposed to be these long cucumbers you would buy in store, and this plant hasn't given me a single one yet. And I've got another plant over there and I harvested 1 from it, but it was a bit bland in taste and kind of the insides were a bit white, whereas this flesh is very like green and it's delicious. So next year I think I'm going with Socrates. I'm gonna ditch Telegraph next year. Also, the Telegraph variety started already to develop some rust on the leaves. This is not the first time it happened, so I just keep snipping these off. And this is kind of the next cucumber that's growing on it.
Walking in cold nights with your hand in mine, all wrapped up warm, sitting by the fire.
All right, so I'm going to spray it on everything in the polytunnel, on the leaves and on the stems. And it's just like a preventative measure, because since I already got the powdery mildew up there, I really want to avoid bringing it in here. So just as a prevention, we are going to do that. Also, I kind of hope that the plants normally would be okay, because I take care to only water from the bottom, not over the leaves. But you never know.
Through days of warmth, I'm by your side. Like the stars and the moon in the nighttime sky, I'm by your side.
This tress of calendula is not too horrid, but the ones on the sides were mostly effective. So I am going to try and remove some of the bottom leaves and then spray it all and see if it recovers. If it doesn't recover later this week, I'm gonna get rid of it as well.
Days of warmth by your side, like stars and the moon in the nighttime sky, I'm by your side.
Look at that carnage. Such a shame. We have more over here as well. And the only calendula tress that seems to be any mold free so far is this one. So I made sure to spray thoroughly. I also managed to get this sprayer working now, which is amazing, because I was going crazy pressing the button. This one just does it for me. But look what I found here. That is another instance of powdery mildew. This leaf is now going. Otherwise, we seem to be doing pretty okay. But I will just remove a few just to be safe and to get more airflow in anyway. most of these plants, they're affected only halfway up, not all the way to the top. So I'm kind of trying to save some of the flowers. I'm gonna dry them, but I'm not quite sure what purpose they're going to serve just yet. If you have any ideas what I could use the dried flowers for, then let me know. Okay. All right, enough about powdery mildew. That is dealt with now. We are going to harvest some potatoes. Okay. Oh, I have a little oak tree. Unfortunately, oak tree, you're going to go, but it's a shame. I love oak trees. Oh wow. What is this monster? Look at that. So this may be it. Potatoes from three potato plants. I pulled out 4, but I already harvested some top ones from the others, so let's call it 3. I think I had about the same amount from the other half as well, so that's pretty good. I'm just gonna dig it over now to make sure I haven't left any potatoes in the ground. This is my potato harvest, and this is the potato field, no more. Next thing will be broad beans. They're already half harvested, but I was letting the top ones finish growing and ripening as well, and they seem to be pretty big now, so I think next allotment visit I'm going to tackle those, not today. Now let's get some raspberries instead. Alright, I think that's it for today. I need to get home now, but I'm going to continue this video tomorrow evening because I need to come back and do some watering because it's a really hot day. Tomorrow's supposed to be hot too, so tomorrow evening I'm gonna water everything, and maybe I'll get around to do some weeding as well since I didn't get to today. So as you can probably tell, it's the next day. Everything's watered now, and I've just got a few jobs to do. But first of all, I wanted to check on the calendula that I left in the ground yesterday after spraying it with milk, because this one was just a little bit infected. But actually it spread, so I pulled it out as well. There's one more tress that I sprayed as well, and it actually seems to be doing better. So I left that one in, and I sprayed it with some neem oil today. So I'll see on my next visit if it's doing any better. For now, I'm just going to try and again save some of these calendula flowers. I also realized yesterday I was talking to you a bit headless on the video. Sorry about that. I didn't face the camera and I didn't see myself. So I'll make sure I'm recording things today with my front camera instead. So time to say goodbye to these flowers, and I have about an hour of sunlight left. So I think next I'm gonna get on with some weeding. So first things first, I want to get this cold frame under control because I was growing here some very early spring mustards and then I didn't have time to deal with them. And look what happened. They've all gone into seed. So this is all gonna be pulled out so I can have some growing space back for my autumn and winter crops. This is last of my last year's leeks, planted last August. Didn't grow much, did it? So one of the things I was trying to chat to you about yesterday when I was chopping down the marigolds is the fact how time-consuming the allotment is. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. I would love to be here all the time, and if it was my only job, that would be brilliant, but unfortunately it isn't. I work full-time, and I can see why historically allotments were associated with people who are retired, because it just takes so much of your time. I didn't really appreciate this when I was taking it on, but I knew it was going to be time-consuming, but I just didn't realize how much labor and maintenance goes in and how it like takes over your life, because you constantly just have to think about it and you're always here in your mind. It is lovely, it's peaceful, but it can also tip over being stressful pretty quickly. And I think I didn't really set myself for an easy job this year, because obviously I was trying to clean all of the plot because lots of it was covered in brambles and a lot of it was covered in plastic sheets, because there was just too many beets, I suppose, growing when people before me got it, but also there was just so much rubbish in the soil. And I thought at this point I would have cleaned the entire allotment plot now, and mind you, mine is only a half plot, but I didn't. I still have a tiny section, which is gonna be a large bed that's still not clean. I still haven't managed to clean that one bit out. And my allotment anniversary is coming around next week. So I would have been here for a year now, and I haven't managed to clean it up completely. But I'm not beating myself over it, because I have done so much. I've cleaned so much. I've been to the recycling center. I stopped counting, minimum 20 times at this point. And I have built my polytunnel, which was a huge achievement for me. I think this rocket is just ready to go now. Yeah, I'm not gonna harvest much more of this rocket. Guys, this was gonna be a chatty video, but I don't feel as chatty today. So, am I happy with my allotment? No, because I'm a perfectionist and it's just not the way I imagined it to be. And I'm also really sad that some of my crops didn't take up as well as I wanted to. Like my garlic was a bit of a failure. There's a bed at the very top of my allotment which doesn't like to grow anything. I thought last year when I planted it up and nothing grew that I made some mistakes. I planted different things this year. I made sure to fertilize it properly. Still, things are barely growing, so I don't know what's wrong with the soil there, or if it's the position, because it gets a lot more shade in the morning. But nothing's just growing, and things like that just feel like a failure to me. But then I have to remember that actually, like 80% of the allotment is going really well, so I shouldn't really beat myself over it. But I have a problem. I mean, I am my own problem. I just want everything perfect and everything now. And another thing as well is the fact that I'm turning everything into videos. I'm really not helping myself there, because obviously this is another very time-consuming task I've taken on. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying sharing this journey of my allotment with you guys, but it is very time-consuming. So yeah, just a warning for anyone who is thinking about getting a bigger garden, think twice. My God, look at that sunset. That's incredible. So just to illustrate, this is what I'm talking about when I say that allotment is time consuming, because I have been here for 2 hours, and in those 2 hours I have managed to water the garden and beat the cold frame and meet one of these beds and take care of the courgettes, and that's all I did. Of course, I was a lot more ambitious, so I show you what I was planning to do today, but I didn't get to do today. So I have booked myself a slot for the weekend at the recycling center to dispose of some of the waste I don't want to put in a compost bin. But also, I was thinking that since I'm already going, I might as well beat this whole section and just pull all the weeds out of the ground today. And also today that I was gonna be able to trim that bramble a little bit. And then on top of that, I thought that I'll also plant the chicory here that I didn't get to plant yesterday. And again, not possible. I think just these 2 tasks alone would have taken me another hour and a half at least. Such is allotment life, constant disappointment in my abilities or what I can achieve in one day. It's just a very ambiguous feeling when you're here, because I want to be here and just relax. I want to enjoy looking around at everything I've grown and feel the joy. But when I look around, all I see is more work, and then I just want to get up and do the work. And then I get frustrated when I don't have enough time to do all the work I wanted to do. And then I come home and I'm exhausted, and I wish I hadn't spent so much time in the allotment. I actually got to do some of my chores in the house as well. But then when I'm in the house, I want to be here. So it's a never-ending cycle of reward and punishment. I think it's worth it, but I don't think it's sustainable for me, at least long term. So I'm gonna leave you with that, guys, today. It's a bit of a honest review of having spent 1 year at the allotment now. And I think just before I go, because I'm not going to be able to come here tomorrow, but I'll give myself a little job for tomorrow. I'm going to harvest the broad beans and take them home to shell them and cook them tomorrow. Alright guys, that's it for today. The last of my broad beans are harvested and the sun has set, so I really need to go. But thank you so much, guys, for being here with me on this allotment journey. It really means a lot that you're following along. So I hope I didn't put you off allotments, because it is a great fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Also, my latest video didn't really get any visibility for some reason, so if you wanted to watch my most recent video, it's gonna be right here. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!